How's it going? I'm Ryan and I'm a second year in environmental science and engineering. I work with Tapia Schneider and John Seinfeld on atmospheric aerosols and how they impact air quality and climate.
Hi, my name is Reina Buenconso and I'm a third year grad student. I'm co-advised by both Paul Wenberg and John Seinfeld. I work in atmospheric chemistry and in particular I'm interested in understanding how anthropogenic emissions that we don't normally look at might actually have a really big impact on our air quality.
So as you probably noticed, both Reina and I are both co-advised, and I think, principally this speaks to the fact that, in the environmental sciences, the nature of our work is very interdisciplinary, and we have to draw from a lot of different core sciences like physics and chemistry and engineering and computer science.
It also speaks to the flexibility of our program and the general idea that we are very collaborative in our research here at Caltech.
All right, so welcome to the Seinfeld lab. So you can see if we come in here, this is where we have our environmental chamber. It's sort of what the Seinfeld group is known for. It's really loud in here, right? We have a lot of instrumentation going on here. So you can see we have our GCFID and our SIMS, where we can measure gas phase, chemical composition. We have a scanning mobility particle sizer, where our group was actually the pioneer of this device way back in the 80s. Walking down this way, we have our flow tube reactor. Right now we're doing studies on aerosol thermodynamics, and we're trying to understand how aerosols can serve as cloud condensation nuclei. This informs us about how our emissions, human emissions, are actually influencing cloud formation and ultimately climate. If you come down this way, I can show you the piece de resistance de our laboratory. So, like I mentioned, the environmental chamber is sort of one thing the Seinfeld lab is most well known for. So you can see on the inside here, we do a lot of chamber experiments and chamber modeling to understand how anthropogenic gases and particulate emissions sort of impact air quality and even climate to an extent. So.
Welcome to the Wenberg Lab. Here we have different subgroups of research going on, the first of which is the carbon cycle group, which uses satellite data to look at the global distribution of greenhouse gases. Behind me, you can see a TCON site that stands for Total Carbon Column Observatory Network. It's one of many sites around the world. Caltech and JPL help run this network, and it's essentially a bunch of FTIRs all around the globe that measure the total carbon column. The second area of research in the Wenberg Lab is understanding the chemistry and kinetics of trace gases in the troposphere. So this is our lab space where we do that. You can see that we have a smaller atmospheric chamber, similar to the Seinfeld lab. Here we inject our trace gases that we're interested in studying, and behind it we have a set of UV lights which simulate the sun. This is the primary instrument we rely on to make our measurements. It is a GC SIMS. The GC portion of the instrument was developed by a grad student and later a postdoc in our group. The third area of research in the Wenberg Lab is taking in situ samples of the atmosphere. Here we're interested in actually sampling the ambient air to understand the chemistry that's going on all around us.
So because we're both members of the Seinfeld group, we both are doing these field campaign measurements in both of these groups. With John Seinfeld, we fly on the Twin Otter plane off the coast of California to try and understand aerosol cloud interactions, as well as natural and anthropogenic emission sources. We actually have a field campaign going on right now, so let's go upstairs and check it out.
Let's do it.
So originally this summer, we were supposed to be flying on the Twin Otter aircraft to measure different cloud properties and different aerosol properties off the coast of California. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, that was canceled, but it did give rise to another really interesting field campaign that's actually happening right now. If you want to follow me in here real quick, you can see a lot of our instrumentation is actually upstairs at Caltech in our building in Robinson. We're trying to measure the impacts that these quarantine measures have had on the air quality in the LA basin right now.
Hey Henry! Hi everyone, I'm Claire. I'm a third year grad student here in ESE at Caltech, and welcome to the Klima House. So you guys might be wondering what we're doing in this house. So this is the Klima House, or the House for the Climate Modeling Alliance. We're located just across the street from the main Caltech campus, and in this house we are building a next generation climate model. So the people that work here are both people working on the project and grad students like me who are working with Professor Tapio Schneider. So hey everyone, welcome to my office. Here is my lab. It's a computer, so all of the work that I do here at Caltech is computational, which means that I'm running simulations and analyzing their output. Sometimes I'm looking at observations that are required from satellites, but I'm not in a lab doing any hands-on experimentation.
Hello, Claire. Where are you right now?
So right now I'm sitting in the backyard of the Klima House. It is one of the major perks of working here. So we have this lovely outdoor green space to enjoy. So, yep.
What got you into studying clouds?
So for my undergrad, I was a physics and math major. So I wasn't doing any sort of atmospheric science or climate or clouds or anything. I started doing research in the middle of my junior year of undergrad, and I was working with a professor studying water vapor in the atmosphere, and that lab was like a very experimental. We were building an instrument that flew on airplanes, so very different from what I'm doing now, but it got me really interested in questions about climate and showed me that there's a lot of ways to apply physics to answering questions that were really important to me, caring about our environment and our planet. So that's sort of how I ended up here in ESE at Caltech and studying clouds. I mean, they're just beautiful and they're very cool, and there's lots of good physics that goes along with them. So it satisfies all aspects that I'm looking for in a research subject.
My name is Henry Peterson, and I'm a second-year graduate student working with Tapio Schneider, and I'm interested in precipitation and modeling it and understanding it. And if it weren't for COVID, I'd probably be coming to this office most of the time, sitting in these desks, writing on this whiteboard, and reading papers, doing research on my laptop. That would be my typical day. And that's kind of what my day is anyways, even without COVID, except I don't come to the office very often. I usually just do it at home.
So Henry, what got you interested in going to grad school?
Well, Claire, I did some research in undergrad, and I really liked the freedom and the fact that you're trying to understand things that people haven't looked at before. And I wanted to keep doing that and push myself to see how much I could learn in the next few years before going into industry or whatever else comes after this.
So what is your favorite thing about Caltech?
I like that Caltech is really small. I came from UC Berkeley, which is a really big school, and I liked that too. But I also like the attention you get in a small school and the community that you get to build with a group of people that have like-mindedness to you. So that's probably my favorite part.